I don't know how to put it like nicely. No, I don't think every single person out there wanting to do it is a hardcore super jock douche. I know that there is a fairly large amount of people that are just enjoying a sport, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it's fucking great. What really irritates me is that they're saying it's the evolution of something and that it's like it's growing, it's getting better because of this, when it's not. It's literally not. It's getting worse because of that.
Hello, friends. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of the Main Idea podcast, where today I have the pleasure of sitting down once again with Chris Burns. I'm going to sound like a broken record here for a hot second, but we're on a roll and people are actually listening to this and doing it. If you've been watching the show, tuning in each week, and you haven't left a 5-star review on Spotify, please do so. It is so easy. You click the drop-down menu, rate the show 5 stars, submit, and go back to your life. I'm really grateful for those of you that have done this in the last 2 weeks. We're about to cross 100 5-star reviews, and that means so much to me because I want this show to grow organically from people that listen to it, not from ad spend. So thank you so much to those of you that have, and those of you that haven't. It's really easy. It only takes 5 seconds. The other way that you can support the show is by simply sharing it with someone who loves jiu-jitsu, strength and conditioning, and human performance. Chris Burns is a second-degree black belt under Master Rickson Gracie and Professor Jason Roebig. He is also opening his own academy, 0 Point Gracie Jiu-Jitsu in Sydney, Australia, which will be opening this July. So if you want to train with him, he has a very unique and excellent teaching style. You can see him in person there in Australia. If not there, good luck catching him stateside. He's been elusive, although one day we will finally get together and train. To support the show, please check out the sponsors in the show notes. And ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Chris Burns. Well,
Okay, that's
back again. Chris Burns, round 2, highly requested that you come back on the show. I think people loved the first episode. So here we are in Italy having espressos at night. I
no,
totally burned you the other day. I'm so sorry. But I'm very grateful that you've taken time out of your day all the way across the world to join me on the show again.
It is my pleasure. It's good to be back.
What are you doing in Italy?
Seminars. So
Nice.
my wife's family lives here, so
Okay.
we have to go over to Italy at least once a year. So when I came over, I made a post on Instagram and poof, inundated. So I've got like a month worth of seminars now. It's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's the jiu-jitsu scene like are you in Rome?
No, I'm in Como right now.
Okay.
There's none. So everyone is drunk at lunch and having a nap. It's awesome. So
Nice.
they're super laid back out here. I'm sure there is a scene. I just haven't found it yet. It's not like
Yeah.
anywhere else in the world. So
So what do you when
I'll see him
when
sooner
you
or
go to
later.
a place like that and like Italy, I'm not we're not going to call Italy remote, but for the sake of jujitsu, it's not the most concentrated area of high level jujitsu going on. So what are you doing when you show up to these places? Are they seminars in like school buildings, or are they actual academies that are bringing you in?
Actual academies.
Nice.
I still haven't been to the places. Like I'm on my week off. I just got here,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna find out for the first time in like 2 days. So I've got
Wow.
actually no, I taught at a judo academy last time I was
Oh,
here,
sick.
so that was
Nice.
nice. But it's super laid back. I don't know what it's gonna be like. I'm gonna find out, and I'll report back to you.
Well, you don't strike me as I wanted to talk to you about this specifically. You don't strike me as someone who would like love social media, something like social media.
Oh, I
Like,
fucking hate it. No.
okay, so my intuitions are correct on this. Yet, so since our first episode, I mean, we can touch on things like what you just said, right? You throw something up on social media, bam, look, now you're doing seminars in Italy. That's actually, in my eyes, that's rad because now people in Italy get exposure to really high level jiu-jitsu. They get to learn from you. That's cool. Social media kind of sucks, but it has this purpose. but since I first had you on, you seem to have found like a vein of satire, quality instruction, and this like, fuck it mentality that like you don't really care, but that fact that you don't really care kind of makes it enjoyable and fun. So where are you at with social media right now?
Okay, I'm not with social media. There was a long story short, I know the value of social media. I just
Mhm.
didn't care for a very long time. I decided a long time ago that I was going to be professional and I'll start an Instagram because my nieces and my nephews were making fun of me for not knowing how to Instagram. Like, I didn't know how to
Nice.
fucking Facebook. I got Facebook because I had a friend that I worked with and we sent each other funny shit back before memes was a thing. And then
Right.
my nieces and nephews made fun of me for not knowing Instagram, so they showed me Instagram. And I thought, well, everybody else posts photos, so I started doing photos. And that was as far as I fucking got. Like, here's some photos of jujitsu at this place. Hashtag. I thought that was it. No, this is a whole fucking thing, apparently. And I was teaching at a place in Sydney, and this wonderful woman came in and saw me teach. And when you said like I found like this vein of whatever fucking shit this is, that's me teaching.
Yeah.
So there's no act. That's how I teach.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't think I've actually met you in person. That
No,
is
we have not.
just me. So unfortunately, she decided to start filming me, and she asked, "Can I post this?" Fuck. It was all downhill from there because it was like she asked me, "What's your favorite move in jiu-jitsu?" And I was like, "Cross face," because like
Yeah.
fuck you and your stupid cool things.
Yeah.
Boom, inundated with fucking like a million messages like you are the fucking devil. Ah, how dare you shit on me? It was like the internet took it personally. So yep, sorry, I don't know how
Yeah.
to deal with it, so I just fucking turn it off all the time. She just comes in and films me. She's in charge of
Yeah.
everything. I have nothing to do with that fucking train wreck. So
Well,
yeah,
well, that's what I mean. I haven't. I mean, like we were joking before the episode started, we've tried to connect a couple times in LA, and with your crazy travel schedule and my travel and production schedule, it just they haven't lined up. But uh, despite not having trained with you, it doesn't feel phony, and I think that that's why it's so funny, is because it's like, oh, this is such a departure from your typical content on
oh
jujitsu, right?
god, I
Is
fucking
either
hate it. I hate it so much. Like because I scroll through that shit, and it's
yeah,
like I get it. I get it. Like if I started an academy in like the 80s and I hated copy machines, like I am not going to Xerox a flyer and tell anybody that this fucking place exists. I hate
right,
copy machines. Let the word of mouth be known. Like I'm not going to fucking be that guy. Um,
right.
the survival of the fittest is not the fittest. It's the person that's willing to adapt. That's how you
That's
survive. So being an old fuck on Instagram, that's yeah, old man yelling at cloud for the rest of my life.
dude. I was gonna say verbatim, old man yelling
Oh
at
my
cloud.
god, cloud.
That's
Yeah.
your the whole persona, the satire of it is old man yelling at cloud.
My
But
entire
again,
life is a satire at this point.
but there's also stuff in there that's like, yes, the videos are funny, and I think that helps, right? It helps spread. But then inside the videos, you're talking about things that any single person who trains jujitsu, practices the gentle art, could actually implement this stuff and they would be better at the thing that they love to do
Oh,
because
don't tell
it's
the internet
simple.
that. No, 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 no. It's no. You don't understand. If this was the streets, bro, you don't understand, dude. I get the best fucking comments from like I had somebody. I all right. So I don't interact, and I don't want to interact, but like I will publicly shame the shit out of you. If you write something stupid, I'm gonna screen grab that shit and just post it
Yeah.
because that's enough for me. Like I'm not gonna rabbit hole and comment back, but Jesus, there's
Yeah.
some winners out there. Uh, Somebody today wrote something like, "Well, that was a pretty poor guillotine," but like I scroll through his profile and this guy standing with a poodle, he's like 18 years old tops, like telling me that it's a, well, I mean, you escaped a terrible guillotine. Like, Oh, most people don't care about what you're posting
Yeah.
at all. They just want to like yell back into the void and be heard. You know,
It's so
it's
weird.
brutal. It's great because like
It's
I
so
wake up and
weird.
I have like 500 messages of like, holy shit, thank you. I had no idea. But then
Yeah.
like the comment section is like, oh my God, I would never fuck. And these are grown ass men. So, man,
I'll
I,
have
I,
I stopped doing this actually, but previously, when I was preparing for some episodes, I would throw it out on Reddit and I would be like, "Hey, someone's coming on. I'm excited to talk with them. If anyone has any questions that you'd love to hear, drop them in the feed, and I'll make sure to ask them." Unanimously, every time I did this, and it's the reason I don't do it anymore. Zero constructive things were ever thrown out,
oh
ever,
no,
and it
no.
was always just boatloads of trash or falsities or lies about the person or whatever, or in some cases some truths that were really interesting. You like didn't kind of wish you didn't know type stuff. And I was like, wow, it's just so strange to me. Like if you're in a room full of people and you're teaching a seminar, right, and you're like, hey, I'm about to bring in Rickson Gracie and he's going to teach you guys some stuff, does anyone have any questions they want to throw out? What would actually probably happen is everyone would be so struck that they wouldn't even say anything at all. And maybe one person would go, hey Chris, I was wondering, maybe you can get him to show us some escapes from side control or something. But you put it online, and that freedom of anonymity, oh, people feel so empowered.
Oh, it's
They feel
beautiful.
so empowered. And you just picture them at their house in the basement of their parents with, like you can see
Yeah.
them doing
What was
that.
it?
It's the
The
strangest thing.
was it Jay and Silent Bob where they get like the plane tickets and they fly around to every fucking comment and beat the shit out of them? That's
Oh,
that's
yeah,
fucking
it strikes
clown
back.
shoes.
Yes.
Excuse me, I got a
Wow.
case of the
Man,
toddlers.
I haven't heard someone reference that. I was talking about Clerks the other day with someone
Solid movie.
and how it
Solid.
was all black and white, and they were like, "What do you mean it was black and white? Like it was shot in like the 40s?" And I was like, "No, no, 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 no." I was like, "Not 40s, in the 90s." Kevin Smith, it's great dialogue, and they're like, I don't understand. It's about a convenience store and it's in black and white." And I'm like, you know what?
Explosions?
You just don't understand.
Is it part of the Marvel universe?
Yeah. No, it
Oddly
precedes
enough,
it.
I'm sure Kevin would love to be a part of the Marvel universe. Wait,
Yeah.
fuck yeah! As long as we're talking about this and shitting on the internet, it's
Yes.
brutal. It's a hellish wasteland. It's I love what you said. That like that anonymity, like it's
Mhm.
great. Like I enjoy the fuck out of it. But then there's people that will just like I don't know. It doesn't bring hope to me every time like
Yeah.
because I'm trying to do something nice, like I'm giving that what was it? I got some comments like, why would you fucking show this? This should be fucking secret. People should earn somebody. Okay, that's a bit fucking retarded. Um, we shouldn't be hiding anything. That's weird
Yeah.
that I should be hiding this stuff. Um, but when you see people like shitting on things, like if I handed you $20 and you're like, you fuck your 20 fucking dollars, how dare you?
Right.
Like, I don't know, man. It's not really my bag to be doing what I'm doing, but I'm kind of fucking forced into a corner because I know I'm supposed to be doing it.
Yeah, well, and it afford. I mean, look what it affords you, right? You're traveling and you're making money at the same time. You're providing for your family and you're teaching people
I'm
jujitsu.
sorry, did you
But
say
when
something about
when
money? I'm
yeah,
supposed to be
that I
making
don't know
money
how they're
doing this?
paying you. I don't know how they're paying you. Maybe we'll leave that cat in the bag. But when when you think back to, you have a unique perspective in your exposure to Rickson to learn jujitsu directly from someone who's arguably considered the greatest jujitsu player of all time, and you've also never stopped. Like you've been doing jujitsu for a really long time. You started before it was cool. You're still doing it while it's cool.
It's
You've seen
cool.
the rise of social media. You've seen, jujitsu magazines. You've seen all the instructionals, everything that's come out, all the stuff that's happened in the history of the growth of jujitsu in the United States and the world. And I wonder, like, what are your thoughts on its current state?
That was a really nice way of saying that I'm fucking old.
See what I did there?
It's its current state is ridiculous. Like it's
Good or bad? Ridiculous.
fucking all right. Depends on what you mean by its current state. So there's like as far as I'm concerned, there's two versions of this. There's the sport, and then there's the actual martial art. And people like no one wants to divide. No one wants to put the line in the sand because they're afraid of losing students. They're afraid of like somebody shitting on them. Like if the last 40 something years of being shit on has given me anything, it's the fear of not being shit on. So there is a firm fucking line in the sand in my world. There's the game, and then there is the martial art. So as far as the game is concerned, like great, everything blew the fuck up. Everyone's like super fucking happy about it, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. For the martial art, like it's slowly dying in a corner. Like it's like one of my plants, like because I haven't been home in a while. It's just like withering the fuck away, looking at me when I walk in. Like why? Sorry, I'm allergic to the conversation of jujitsu.
Well,
It's
you're about to have an allergic reaction because we're locked in here.
yeah, where it's great to see it become so well known, but not well known for what it was and what it was meant to be. It's become this fucking like a dog and pony bread and circus obnoxious shit show. Like it's not my bag. It never was. Like I never walked onto the mats thinking like I'm gonna be a champion. Like not fucking once. And to this day, I don't walk on the mats. I'm like I'm gonna fucking be in pain. Like I'm not walking out there to win and stand up on the podium like holding up my fucking belt or fake sword. Some weird shit that you win. Like nah, that was never my bag. It's never gonna be my bag. So I don't know, man. It's very different for me. So there's one side that can be very happy and help themselves, but then there's like me over in the corner curmudgeonly going like, well, fucking help yourself, Tiger. Uh,
Do you think that you're just that? You're just a curmudgeon, and you're judgy of people whose pursuits maybe lie in like competition, or they get some gratification from winning kind of thing, and you see that as like jock and kind of lame, or is it that
no,
like what
well,
is it about that makes you kind of go like, ugh?
not necessarily. So I do have a highly critical fucking personality, whether I like it or not, and that's something that I have to work through as a man. But when you have I don't know how to put it like nicely. No, I don't think every single person out there wanting to do it is a hardcore super jock douche. I know that there is a fairly large amount of people that are just enjoying a sport, and there's nothing wrong with that, and it's fucking great. What really irritates me is that they're saying it's the evolution of something, and that it's like it's growing, it's getting better because of this, when it's not. It's literally not. It's getting worse because of that. You have to be more of an athlete to achieve these goals. When the thing that I was focused on was less of an athlete to achieve these goals, more of an athlete for my own health and sanity, right? It's just kind of like it's gotten so lost and muddled that I'm always slightly curmudgeon about it. It doesn't necessarily mean that I think these people doing this, like some of them are absolute douches, but then some of them are fucking hilarious and sweet, you know? Like there's specific athletes out there, like I'm not name dropping shit. There's
Yeah.
specific athletes out there that I like. I think they're fun. I think they're having a blast, and they're bringing like this brevity to the situation, or
Yeah.
like a slight sense of nobility. But 99% of the time, it's not. It's like the fucking douchey guy that's like thumping his shit. Oh fuck! Like, all right, good for you. You won the imaginary game. I'm proud of you. Like, I'm sure your dad's proud too. Like, your issues are your issues.
Right.
Mine are mine. I think we can all get along, but I would fucking prefer to see a divide between the two when they're taught, because like I personally went in learning to self learning. I went into the academy to learn self defense, and I got hurt constantly
Mhm.
over and over and over again because I wasn't learning self defense. I was learning the sport, and no one told me how to defend myself. They told me how to do more fucking chin ups so that I could be stronger to do more submissions. That's
Mhm.
not what I came here for, and I want that to have a clear divide personally. So yeah, I'm curmudgeon, but
So
for a good purpose.
I got a question about this because
Mm,
when you read like I read Richard Bressler's book, I had him on and got to speak to him about this time when jujitsu's getting to the South Bay. He's working one-on-one with Horian. He's admittedly weak, frail, lacked self-confidence, and he was getting from jujitsu a lot of these things, and at the same time literally learning how to stand up for and defend himself. So it was kind of like this golden era of jujitsu where it was
yeah.
really doing exactly what was originally designed to do. And it's not that that was happening at the same time that athletes didn't exist, because Rickson was a ton of fucking pull-ups. Rickson was a badass, and he was beating people over in Japan in real fights. Like
Mm,
that was actually happening, but they were existing at the same time, right? Richard's over here, he's getting jujitsu is actually happening to him. Rickson is dominating the world with it. So you're seeing it on these two ends of the spectrum. And I wonder, like now as it's evolved and you have, I get torn because on one side of it, like such a fan of things like ADCC, the growth of IBJJF. I'm even a fan of this weird drama that's going on between Craig Jones and ADCC because it's getting more people to go, what's that? And maybe in that group of people that goes, what's that? Some kid who had never been exposed to jujitsu will find it, and then it'll have an impact on their life. And I think that that's great. But with it is exactly what you said. It's this athleticizing of the art form. And so you're getting people that are already strong, already fast, already aggressive that maybe would have found like wrestling, finding jujitsu, and it's making it harder for the person that's not that to get to the same level and learn. But at the same time, and I guess this is where the question comes in, uh, whose fault is that, or what does that say about the evolution of the sport? Because the things evolve irregardless of how we want them to evolve. So this
mm.
is how jujitsu is, how it's becoming what it will be, whether we like it or not. How do we keep some of these like martial arts principles that you talk about present, and how do we like kind of like steer the car back in the lane?
Man, I don't see a need to steer the car back in the lane. So I'm going to be doing what I'm doing until I'm dead. I don't personally feel like I need to convince anybody to do something different. You know,
Yeah.
if you see the appeal of winning something by being bigger, stronger, faster, go for it. That's cool. You do you. I don't have to do that. I also don't have to convince anybody to come and join me over at the other table. Like the cool kids table's over there. Go hang out over there. I got my own jam. Like, and it's not shitting on the cool kids table. It's
Right,
literally
right.
like I got my own jam. What I think got lost was the idea of self defense, not offense, because it became this
Mm,
game of offense, offense, offense. I'm the winner. I am the winner, 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 as opposed to I survived. Like you didn't get me. I really, really respect the shit out of that. The idea of being able to teach basic fundamental principles that's going to help a 56-year-old mother of two get away from an altercation. Meanwhile, those exact same principles are going to help from hoist and slam from a uranagi. You know, like
yeah.
that's important to me. What
Hmm.
I'm trying personally to do is take the most important stuff, distill it, and if you want to play that game, go play that game. If you want to go over here and not get your ass kicked, go over here. I don't think that there has to be a steering of the wheel. I think there just has to be a delineation between the two, and let's say some common ground on what is jujitsu versus grappling, right? So we've got all
Yeah.
these different lanes of grappling. You have sambo, you have catch, you have luta libre, you have etc. You know, fuck it, you have American jiu-jitsu. You have all these different lanes. You have now Brazilian jiu-jitsu. What I genuinely cared about the most, and I didn't know that's what I cared about the most, was Gracie jiu-jitsu. So Gracie jiu-jitsu has this long-standing history of defense, not offense. The offense comes after the defense. right? If you know how to survive the altercation, then you can dominate the altercation. It's kind of hard to do when you get a 10-minute timer, you know?
Right.
It's a bit weird when you have somebody saying like, "Well, you conceded the position and now I have 30 points." Like I don't remember a submission and I can kick you in the face now. So
Right.
having that fucking argument on a daily basis is what makes me so edgy about it. I'm trying not to be
Mhm.
edgy about it, but when I have like a young sports competition guy who's only done sports his entire time, no idea what self defense is, and these are guys that have done self defense. It's all taught
Right.
fucking retarded now. Like no one has respect for the original Gracie self defense system anymore at all. They just shit on it constantly. That's why I'm so passionate about bringing it back and teaching it as correctly as possible. Like
Mhm.
just the idea of the first 40 lessons that Elio would teach. I want to bring those back and I want to teach them to the best of my knowledge to where people go, oh shit, that's why that works. As opposed to like, oh, well, it only works if you have a guy that lets you do it. Dude,
Right.
they've been teaching you wrong. I'm sorry you got taught wrong and somebody told you you had to do the Kimura trap system. Like, you don't have to do these things. You should know this foundational shit. So steering it in the right direction is a personal thing for everybody else. You do you, I'll do me. I'm over here. I'm not going to make fun of you too much over there. I probably am. It's
Probably will.
sorry. I don't fucking care. Like I didn't care then. I don't care now, and I don't have to pretend to fucking care. That's what annoys me, is that everybody wants to be like the person's like, no, 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 no. It's good for sport. It's good for this. It's good for that. Everything is good for everybody. Like, no, it's good for your bank account. No, I'm going to go and teach the self defense and I'm going to worry more about the 12-year-old girl than I am about the athlete. The athlete, man, I can help the athlete. I guarantee it. But do I want to? I don't know. You're going to actually pay because most fucking athletes don't.
Right.
Uh,
When you think about self-defense in jiu-jitsu and these principles, these 40 lessons, kind of bringing back this structure, the martial arts element of it, what are in your eyes kind of the most basic, most important things that we could all benefit from positionally? Things that like you walk into any gym in the country, any academy, and these are things that you want to see done correctly all the time.
Distance management. No one cares. No one cares. They slap hands, they bump fists, and they butt scoot towards each other. They slap hands, they bump fists, and they grab their keys and start throwing each other around. No one talks about it outside of MMA. And even in MMA, it's always about where do I get into striking range?
Mhm.
First off, how do I stay out of striking range? And how do I tempt the person within to come to striking range so that I can hurt them on the way to a clinch? That was the whole point. The whole fucking point was to not have to outstrength or outstrike somebody. It was to cover the distance, manage the damage, take them to the ground so that I could be on top of them, and that way I don't have to fucking capoeira my ass around them to try and beat them. That's the thing that no one's talking about. I think Gracie University talks about it a bit, like covering the distance, getting to the clinch. I don't hear anybody else talking about it. I hear talking about like, okay, we're looking for this position for this takedown, this. Cool, you're playing the game still. I want to cheat. I don't want to play the game. I want to phase out. I want to break your kneecap on the way to the clinch. It's easier to take you down when you got one bad leg. So no one fucking talks about it anymore. Distance management should be the foundation that it's built on. Timing, distance management, and not having to be stronger. So having some semblance of the idea of base. If this is a great one. I love fucking getting arguments about this one. So when people put their nose before their toes to shoot in for a clinch, you're
Yeah.
already a step behind on something. If I have to regain posture at any given time to do something, or I have to be bigger, stronger, faster, and give up my posture, like shooting in for the double leg. I got a lot of wrestler students, like a lot, and they're solid, man. They will shoot in for a fucking double until you knee them in the face. And then all of a sudden they're starting to second question these things. Like, but nobody's ever kneed me in the face before. Like, oh shit, coach. I don't know why you did that. Like, Well, because I would go upper body clinch if I were you. But what do I fucking know? I have no idea what I'm doing. What champions am I? Like I shouldn't. I don't have any trophies. Fuck. You should cover the distance to manage the damage. You shouldn't be at a fucking deficit constantly trying to be faster and stronger than people. I would start with that and then build on it personally.
So uh, when you get someone who is naturally strong, I mean, this is so. Part of my challenge when I started jujitsu was that
Is
I
that you're
naturally,
naturally strong?
yeah, I relied on athletic ability and
Yeah.
a history of sports, right? This was a detriment that I was aware of. I knew that if I started to do this, I was going to forego technical advancement because you you're not used to it, right? You haven't been in a situation where you feel adrenaline build like that and you feel like you are about to get hurt. You know, all these things that happen unless
Mm.
you grew up fighting, which I didn't. So when that happens for the first time, you automatically revert to what you have, which is strength or ability, and then you do what everyone does. You get super tired, gassing yourself out, and then you get tapped by someone who's like a fraction of your size. So when you
Mm.
get people that are coming into you, they're teaching, maybe you find them at a seminar and you go, okay, this person has strength as a prerequisite. What is your approach to that? Like, do you want to deprogram that? Do you want to introduce principles that are effective without that? Like, how do you get someone like that to go, cool, hey man, great, you're strong, awesome, good for you. Let's not do that. Let's approach it this way. And then you can use that later when it's effective or opportunistic, or you're matched against someone of equal strength, whatever it may be. What's your approach to dealing with that type of athlete, maybe a wrestler or something like that?
Honestly, like the original approach was always to spar with them. But
Mm.
I'm old now, and like I no, dude, I'm too fucking old. I don't need to
You're like,
be
I'm
sparring.
espresso at 6 p.m. in Italy and pasta. I'm not doing that.
Fuck, man, I just don't have the time to deal with the
Yeah.
injuries anymore. Because like I'll prove a fucking point. Yeah, I'll show you how it's done. But then like the next day, I'm like, I fucking showed him how it was done. It's not worth it. So, yes, it's not worth it. It's so worth it. What I like to do, I teach. Like I actually teach. I think that's what has made people genuinely pay closer attention to what I'm trying to do is by taking a class with me because I don't just show a move and then we spar. Because that's another thing that a lot of schools have. They'll have they'll have an instructor that comes in and be like, "We're doing this, this, and this, and then I'll show you this, this, and this, and what if this? Okay, let's do some ecological whatever and some positional sparring." Like, it's a whole thing. Meanwhile, when I run a class, it is beginning, middle, and end. It's one whole hour. I'm going to start standing, move to a terrible position, and then get back to standing. And everything
Yeah.
has context and everything has an explanation. And it's split into chunks where the people are going to be doing the move. I come around and I fix them, and then they do it again. It's the way that I teach personally has saved me quite a bit of trouble because I'll have somebody come in with like black duct tape on their fingers and fucking chess pieces tattooed on their neck, ready to rumble and shit. Like, you're the instructor? Yeah. Okay. We going? Like, yeah, hop on the line. I'm going to
Oh,
teach a class. 1 hour later, the guy's staring at me like a dog that got showed a card trick. He's like,
right.
I can just lean to the left. Like, yeah, you can just lean left. And they're like, they don't want to spar after that. And if they do want to spar, yeah, fuck it, let's roll. Cool. But usually, if you explain something fucking clearly enough and you really demonstrate it physically, students have a tendency to absorb it a lot easier than we're going to do this lapella pilata today. Grab your partner. Yeah, okay, got it, coach. So it depends on the instructor. For me, I was very lucky to have a lot of athletes and also a lot of fucking straight up nerds. And all of
Yeah.
them stood there and like watched. They heard, they saw, they felt. The three most important parts of doing this. They didn't just get like, okay, here, watch this video with me and then we're going to drill. Like, no, that's not how I do shit. So that's what's kind of saved my ass for the past 15 years, I think. Because before that, I was a fucking terrible instructor. I'd show a move, and then I'd show like 30 other moves after that, and then we just spar. So thankfully, I went to Gracie University. I learned how to teach. That was a huge thing for me. I like the way they structure their stuff.
It's not a common skill. Being
Oh
able to
fuck no.
instruct properly, communicate principles. I mean, it's like I've spent, a career as a personal trainer, and that's one of the hardest things when people are training is to get all that stuff that as a trainer in your head, all the cool words and the big principles and the studies and the blah. You can't deliver that to the client. You got to give them, you say, hey, imagine there's a stream in front of you, jump over it. They jump with their right foot first. Okay, cool. You're right foot dominant. Now I know that. And now they just showed me that. But if you tried to explain that to them about biomechanical dominance and blah, 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 they'd be like, oh my God, what are we doing here? So that
Oh, dude,
skill of taking,
don't even get me started. Like
I'm sure.
the overcompensation of like
Yeah.
academia. Like you don't have to do the dichotomy of the juxtaposition to like fucking calm down. Put your hand there, lean
Move
right.
left. Yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
it is not rocket surgery. Stop
But
pretending you're smart.
what people don't get when they're getting that from you, or what they might not understand, maybe some do, is that you are using a skill. It's you are doing something where you're transitioning this information from your head that you've acquired from Gracie University and years of doing jiu-jitsu and all this stuff, but you're giving it to them in a way that's digestible. And maybe you might just be saying lean right, but that's like the translation of all that stuff. And
Yeah.
so they just get lean right. Cool. I can digest that. I can do what he said. I can move right. Oh, this position makes sense now. What is, you said this word in there, and I've been seeing this around, and it makes me kind of throw up a little bit in my mouth because I'm like, I don't, and I might just be completely ignorant here, and I might do an episode on this later in the future where I'll be biting my words. Ecological approach to jujitsu.
Ah,
What is
yeah, that
this?
was bound to come up. So I get that question like once a fucking week because I'm fucking important to people now. It's so weird. I don't know why
Sad,
people are
sad.
sending me. Don't send me questions like I
Yeah,
fucking know what I'm doing. It's
yeah.
so weird. Like, what's your opinion on this? My opinion is don't ask me. Like I'm fuck. I don't know enough about this to shit on it, but now I do. So I've had so many people ask me that I had to look into it. Okay, so
Enlighten me.
here's oh I can't. Um, it is, from what I can tell, a very strategic way of teaching, and I cannot shit on it because I'm Captain Shit on everything. I was curious about it, so I watched a video, and watching the video made me fall asleep. Like just the
Yeah.
description, because the guy is trying to explain it to all these people that are really interested, and I'm like, fuck, it's like watching a John Donahue thing. Like, it's part of my job. I have to. I do it because I respect him, I admire him, and I will study it. But I will also have three fucking coffees and put it on fast forward with my notebook.
But
Same
what
thing
is
for
it?
the.
I don't know what, like
It's
it's a
positional fucking sparring. It's positional sparring. If I had to put it as simple as possible, it is basically positional sparring with parameters. Like, from what I can tell, this is not an expert. This is from what I can tell. So I cannot shit on it. I talked
right.
to a guy the other day. He literally called me to discuss jujitsu in general, which is awesome and weird.
That's
But
cool.
this guy, yeah, he
Strange.
literally paid for a private lesson to talk to me, which is so respectful. He wanted to bring it up because
That's pretty rad.
I know, he did the same thing with the guy who invented the ecological, whatever the fuck. He
Yeah.
talked to that guy like a couple of days before me. And he was asking my thoughts on it. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's just positional fucking sparring with big words. And then he tried to explain it to me. And by the time he was done explaining it, I was like, it still sounds like positional sparring with big fucking words, Tiger. And the guy's laughing and he's like, yeah, it might be true. And I said, well, is it for sale? Because this is what I'm viewing in the back of my punk rock head is that somebody came up with a really cool sales pitch and now they're selling it to people. Now, here's the
Yeah.
thing. This guy's not selling it to anybody. He really cares about what he's talking about and he's trying to spread it and he's not trying to sell it. So now that makes me triple think about
Interested.
this. I'm so interested. I want to know
Yeah.
way fucking more. So I don't want to shit on it. I don't want to call it
Fair.
wrong, but I'm also retarded. So I'm pretty sure it's just positional sparring with extra steps.
Well, I see that's
I I
it's
would ask
yeah,
him, like,
so
get him on the
I
fucking
was gonna
show.
say, I was like,
I want to
I should
know.
probably usually when I feel a resistance to something, I'm like, okay, I could be super judgy about this, which is
Mm,
like why I asked that question. But then there's another voice in the back of my head that's like, okay, but that means you have to have the conversation about it because you obviously don't know anything about it. Like I'm,
Man,
as I said, ignorant about it. I don't know.
dude,
It
I'm
does.
with
It,
you.
it sounds like jujitsu with big words. Like, why do we have to put a big word like that in front of something
I
so
don't know,
simple? But
man,
who
because
knows? Maybe the guy's
this
super
is
cool.
yeah, dude. I don't fucking know. I've never met him. He might be awesome. Um, all I know is that when people ask me about it, I don't know the guy, and I'm not gonna do it. I don't care. I'm not gonna go into a new sports academy and have somebody fucking show me how to do it because I'm fine. My students are learning, and I'm very happy with how they're learning. I don't need a new way of teaching. Most people do. I think that's where this is coming from. Is that most people are learning in a fucking garage somewhere something they saw on YouTube. So now
Yeah.
someone's come up with a really cool idea of this is how I can teach you where you're going to learn like guided discovery for children kind of thing. So here's your problem, solve it, and now you have questions. First off, if you are willing to go to the cult and wear your white gi and I tell you what to do and you do it and it works, I think that's faster. But
Right.
nobody really wants that, especially in America. No one likes being told what to do in America. They want to like bump their head on a wall and go like, "All right, I guess I shouldn't bump my fucking head on the wall from now on." Like, all right, maybe you shouldn't touch the hot pan either, but whatever. So
Right.
if that's how you want to learn, if that's how you want to teach, it's better than let's watch this fucking 80cc fight and we'll reinvent the wheel and we'll just emulate everything they're doing and try and figure it out for ourselves.
Do you ever watch ADCC or like submission grappling, fight pass, any of that stuff? Do you keep up on
Mm.
anything on the professional side?
I was gonna make a joke about like watching gorillas fuck, but no,
No,
like no, I don't. I don't fucking care. If you know the attic principle,
I
like
do not.
there's only so much fucking space up here, and I'm not filling it with
Yeah.
that. I've only got so much time in my day, and it doesn't really pique my interest because it's not what I care about. One day, if I have a student that is like begging me to like get into the hit her, I don't fuck, I don't know, don't kill me, him or her into ADCCs, I should probably pay attention to what's happening in ADCCs. Right now,
I,
I care more about legalities of can you stab a person that's yelling at you? Like, what are the boundaries for law in Australia versus in Arizona? You know, like there's that's my lane right now. I want to care more about the self defense aspect of like how do you talk to the police officers after the altercation so that you don't
right.
get sued. Like it is 7:08. My name is Christopher Brett Burns. My birthday is August 17th, 1982, and I would like to speak to my lawyer.
Are
That's
we
way
seeing the
more
birth?
important.
Are we seeing the birth and transition of Chris Burns into law school?
Chris
The
Burns into
ultimate
not getting
combination
sued.
of self
That's
defense meets legal defense. You
that's
could
the
have a
true
whole angle.
Gracie Jiu-Jitsu right there. I got to make sure I go to law school just in case. It's
Wow, I want to get you to a UFC. I want to go to a UFC event with you and just watch
dude,
you squirm at how
you
much
too
you
late.
hate it.
I already did. Oh my God. Yeah, man, I did actually. I went to UFC back in Melbourne a long time ago. Like they
Oh, no
dragged
way.
me. They dragged me
And
kicking and screaming. I
thoughts?
fucking hated it. Jesus
Really?
Christ.
How? Ah, it's so good.
There's a billion fucking people screaming. And there's like a little yellow thing that I'm looking at and I'm supposed to like see it from here. Unless I am like stage left, I don't think it's
Yeah.
that important. So great, man. I don't know. It's just not my thing. That being
Yeah,
said,
that's
like I
fair.
got free tickets to a concert as well. I don't want to go to the concert. I'm tired. I'm old. I don't really care about standing around with a bunch of 40-year-olds wearing black. Like,
How old are you?
42.
That's not old, man. That's not
Dude, it's
old.
old when you go to a fucking concert. When you're 42 and you got a toddler, I don't want to go. I'm good, and I don't need to go and sit at the bar and listen to people yell about stand
Oh,
them back up. Like,
dude. I'll tell you this. I love UFC. I've been to one event. I absolutely loved it. When there's a fight I really want to watch, I sit in my comfy chair. I don't invite any friends over. I order it and I sit in a fucking blanket and
okay,
I have like pizza and I
I can
watch
dig that.
all the fights and I don't listen
I
to
can dig it.
anyone. give me their stupid opinion about what they think should be happening, or this or that, or chirping from people that have never ever been on a mat in their life, talking about how they need to stand them up, whatever it is. I just sit there, and it's like, you ever go to the movies by yourself?
Oh fuck yeah.
So I went to Top Gun by myself, and I sat next to this kid and his brother and his dad. It was hilarious. I happened to buy a seat that was in between them, and I was like, no, you guys switch seats. It's fine. And I was sitting there, and I was like, wow, dude, these kids are so hyped. They were like 10 out of 10 freaking stoked on Top Gun. And I was sitting there at 34 years old going, yes, this was a good decision. But sitting there like that to me is enjoyable.
Hear me out.
Bar, people, bar, absolutely not.
I will give you
No,
a comparison between the two. So
please.
I like going to the movies too, but there's a certain movie that I like to watch. Like I really love Terrifier. Did you ever see that movie?
Is this like a horror thing? I
Oh
can't do
fuck
horror,
yes.
dude. I won't close
Oh,
the mirror on my sink.
love
I
it.
can't do it.
Love it.
It like
Ter-
fucks me up for days if I see a horror
really?
movie. Yeah, I
That's kind
don't
of
do it.
awesome.
It's really weird. We'll
So
talk about that, but continue.
personal thing, love it.
Yeah,
So this is as black and white as you're gonna get. It is a horror movie. I
yep.
love it. I still love it. Gonna love it until the day I die, whatever. Now, if I had to go and see another movie, let's say I went and saw a movie called Midsummer.
Oh, Midsommar, right?
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
I
I
can't
sat through
watch
that.
it.
Neither can I. So
Is it
there's
scary?
that's me. Jesus, no, no. It's girl
Oh,
cries
okay.
for 3 hours. My wife loves it. My wife loved the fuck out of that movie and hated Terrifier. Cool. So like
Terrifying.
that's UFC. That's UFC to me. That's UFC to
Yeah.
me. Meanwhile, I will watch machete fights on YouTube. I'll watch machete
What?
fights on YouTube. That shit. That's some
Whoa.
distance management stuff. I'd
Whoa.
rather be watching that as opposed to UFC. It's a personal
As we
preference.
just go completely off the rails here, this is exciting. So I did not know until I got fed it randomly that there are full blown, like, 20 person per side medieval battles on YouTube. Do you ever see this?
No.
This is insane shit. Dulled swords, okay, but real, like, 30-pound swords, full armor kits, and it's announced and regulated. And then
What?
beyond that, this is crazy. Beyond this, there is, in a boxing ring, um, doing this in Europe. It's announced like a boxing fight, but it's medieval battles. And people, they choose their weapon of choice. Could be a staff, a mace, whatever. And they literally go at it like balls to the wall.
Oh,
It
that's
is
wild.
insane.
I will
You must
probably
watch it.
watch that. I'll probably
Yeah.
watch that. So, like, Calico
Machete fights.
Stoica.
Machete
Yeah, fuck yeah.
fights. What the hell is
There's this
machete
thing
fights?
here. There's a thing in Italy. It's Calico Stoica, Stoica. I don't know. I'm not fucking Italian. I can't pronounce it. But it's like towns versus each other, and they train all year to beat the fuck out of each other to get a ball to the other. It's basically like war,
What?
but more violent. It's
Yeah.
football. You take the ball, you take it over to that side of the field, but in the meantime, they're beating the shit out of each other on the way. Something about
What a
that.
weird world.
I get it. I get the idea behind the UFC. It is super fucking primitive. Like I used to work with a guy, and he would have like a UFC party, and he would invite all these jujitsu guys that he knows, like fucking black belts, and people would come in, they'd watch it. He was on the floor screaming at the TV. I'm like sitting on the couch, awkward, so awkward. Like I get it. The
Oh.
testosterone's through the fucking roof, man. I get it, but I feel weird. That's not my jam.
I
I'd rather
feel
I'd sit alone, a cup of tea,
yeah.
watch some machete fights on YouTube, and then read a fucking book.
Okay,
So I
hold
don't
on.
know.
Elaborate on this machete fights thing a little bit.
Oh,
Are we
just
talking,
morbid
but
curiosity
like we're
about like
talking actual, like they're really fighting each other with machetes,
yeah, this is like
sharp
people.
machetes.
Yeah, they're going at it. So
Jesus.
it's more like study than anything because I'm
Ah,
curious. Like a big Filipino martial arts fan. I'm
okay.
awful, and I've had like a million instructors now. I have two that I regularly train with,
Mhm.
but it's all distance management. You know,
And are you
like all
what are you training with?
uh, personally, I've been dicking around with sticks, knives, and karambits. So like I'm having fun with close
Carrots.
quarters with the
What's
karambits, like this that thing. Yeah.
wait, in the center. What is that?
Yeah.
It looks like a fucking butt plug.
Yeah. It's basically a butt plug of death. I love this thing. So it's
Wait,
just
what is?
this.
So it's like
It's a
a
solid fuck you. That's all. No, no, no.
yeah.
It's literally just painful. That's all.
Ow,
So it's a
that's wild.
compliance weapon. I don't. Yeah, Ray Floro was telling me the history of the guy who invented it to the police. I love the idea of grappling with this thing because it's non-lethal. I
Yeah,
love the idea of playing with a non-lethal weapon right now. But before that, like when I was talking about the machete shit, it's just curiosity of distance management because
yeah,
like that stepping back. I've got this thing with base. I've spent
mhm,
so long trying to find what is referred to as base. It's an equal weight distribution, forward, backward, side to side for hand to hand combat. Big thing in Hickson land, big thing in my world. Means a lot to me. But the second I have a stick or a knife, I have to be able to step back and give base. And it
mhm,
freaks me out. So I'm just it's this hole in my game, for lack of a better term. You know, like if
yeah.
I can't shoot you, like there's a hole in my game. I want to be able to understand the distance management for hand to hand combat, but I have, let's say, blunt force trauma on my side first. So I don't know. There's just a lot of curiosity on that
What
shit for me.
so walk me through. I, I'm going to ask you this because it sounds like you spend time thinking about this. Walk me through an altercation involving a knife and the difference between that and an altercation involving, let's say, someone reaches for a blunt object, because these are things that happen, right? People get in a scuffle, someone grabs something that's around, that could be a brick, it could be a piece of cement, a rock, whatever. How do you view those two interactions differently?
Well, it depends on where you are. It depends on the level of intent. It depends on how well armed you are. Like what country am I in? You know, like are we on camera? That kind of shit. So
Let's go like this. This is like a game of Clue. Chris Burns, America. No concealed carry, in an alleyway, open on one end, closed on the other, brick walls on the sides, person standing between you and the exit, no cell phone, no cameras, no bystanders, but they have a knife and you have nothing, or you have a karambit, give you something that you've been studying recently.
no, fuck that shit. I want a shield. So
Yeah,
the first thing I'm doing, yeah,
you do not have a shield.
well, anything's a shield if you can get to it. So anything's better than nothing. Take a shirt off, wrap it around your hand, like whatever you have to do to
Mm.
protect yourself more than attack. So verbal de-escalation is always the first port of call. But if I'm trapped somewhere, I got to get past the fucker. The most important thing for me is to stay safe. I
Mhm.
don't have any kind of weapons to kill the person. I don't have a gun. I don't have anything. I've just got to get around them. Distance management is the key. Protecting myself is the most important thing, not winning the fight. So, whatever I can do to not die while getting around the person is the most important thing in my eyes.
So is that an instance wherein you would maybe like a jacket taken off that's held stretched out becomes longer and now it changes their target, or what are you looking to do? Of course you want to be on the other side of them because then you can vacate the premises, you can call for help, you can do whatever.
Huh.
But that instance of them standing there and they have a sharp object, how do you actually begin to interact? Because yeah, it'd be great if they drop the knife and then you guys are jujitsuing on the ground and you can mount them and leave or whatever. But
The fuck
between
I
this and
will. I'm
that,
still gonna leave.
right?
I'm gonna fucking jujitsu a guy with a knife on the ground. No, I'm gonna go
I
somewhere
said
and
he
find my
dropped
own
it.
knife. I'm just saying I'm gonna go somewhere so I can find my own fucking weapon.
Right.
The first port of call for me is to protect myself. If I had a jacket or a shirt, I would make sure that I like I don't know, wrap it around a fucking limb, hold it by my neck, and bum rush my fucking way past best as fast as I can. So like, just self preservation, self preservation, self preservation.
We
That's the
did
most
this.
important part.
We did a seminar with this guy who's a firearms instructor in Arizona. He had came out here and he did a workshop.
What was his name?
Oh my god, I'm gonna forget it. I don't remember. It was through my old professor at Gracie who might I just came in to train one day and this guy was there and he was leading the thing, and we did plastic firearms, plastic
Mm-hmm.
knives was the majority of what we trained with. And I had never done a course ever where someone's showing you how to disarm, kind of like last go, right before something fatal happens, your last attempt. And so we were doing very basic thing of like, I am pointing a fake gun at you, you are here, and then the maneuvers you do to minimize getting
Mm.
shot and maximize your ability to escape, right? When he did full clip speed, it was one of the scariest things I've seen someone do. When he
Huh.
demonstrated on his training partner and he used like maximum speed to do the movements, and I saw how ingrained this was
Yeah.
in his studying, right? Like no energy was wasted in how he moved the firearm, jammed it into the opponent, and then left, right? Or
Yeah.
checked the clip and backed away. And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't imagine being a fly on the wall on the dude that decides to pull a gun on that guy, because
Yeah.
that person they don't know what they're doing most of the time, right? They're using that to get fear, get the wallet, whatever. Now that asymmetry of having no idea what's going on and how much that other person knows, it was literally terrifying. To how to break someone's finger in the process of getting the gun out of their hand, all stuff that it would take me 40 years to ever even become relatively comfortable implementing that. But
Mm.
watching them do it was really, really something. And it changed. Like we did, rolls that day where you have a plastic knife free floating kind of nearby.
Mm.
Totally changes even
Oh yeah,
that with people you
dude.
trust and you know.
Nobody. All right, so that's another thing that would be great for the sport of jujitsu is just chuck a fucking wooden knife on the floor while you're grappling. Like I've got a school
It's
affiliate
different.
school in Reno, Nevada. That's how they test their guys. So they don't just do like, oh, you can do jujitsu. Here's your blue belt. They have like a belt system that involves MMA. Like I respect the shit
Wow.
out of that. I remember they were testing and they ended up like throwing a fucking gun out there. Like gun retention, gun disarms. That's
That's what it
another
was. Gun
thing.
retention.
Yeah.
Gun
So
retention
being able to
seminar.
retain your weapons is a huge
Mhm.
thing. Um, what I think that's one of the things that's really lacking in self defense. Because like when you were saying that there's a huge difference, you know, and what do I see is the how do I steer them back? Like fuck steering them back. Over here, I want students to understand basic jujitsu so that they can add on verbal de-escalation, basic striking, weapons retention, and weapons defense. Because those things faded. Nobody cares about that. And they haven't, have they? So you were with an instructor that was teaching something that was most likely not in the Gracie syllabus. So you
No,
have the
yeah, it
original,
was not.
yeah. So you got the original old school one where you like snap it down. Like I know all the old school Gracie
Mhm.
gun, knife, stick defenses. Stick ones are solid. Gun and knife leave a lot of space to be desired personally. But that being said, I've worked with Rickson on all of them, and his weight distribution stuff that he adds to the disarms is phenomenal.
Yeah,
I would like to see an evolution of that part. I want to see an evolution of distance management and strike defense because no one's talking about that. They're just doing like, why don't you do combat jujitsu then? Like, oh, for fuck's sweet sake. I'm not trying to outslap a motherfucker. I want to know how to not get slapped. That's
yeah.
important. So when it comes down to this stuff, I think personally, the chunk that's missing is the self defense, and that needs to evolve because the sport's evolved enough. It's got its own place. You can wear your Burger King crown and you're fucking doing great, man. Meanwhile, over here, no one's really giving it the effort that it deserves and the attention that it deserves. I think it needs to be preserved, it needs to be polished, it needs to be refined. So that's why I'm not watching the UFC. I'm over here.
What?
But the gun stuff is fucking wild. I got one of my guys who's phenomenal at it, and he's filming them, and I'm gonna be taking them to Rickson because we dick around and we show each other stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's a group of us that work with him, and we show him like this isn't working, but this feels like it's working, and we start to reverse engineer things. I want to go over the gun stuff. I want to go over the knife stuff. I think it's important.
What is it like being with Rickson in the capacity that you are? I know that there's a handful of you guys that still learn directly from him one on one, or a group on one. Um, he's an aging man, right? You're seeing an interesting part of life in someone who was once a champion of the world, an
Mm,
unbeatable force in mixed martial arts, in the most dominant, aggressive, risky. form of combat outside of war, and he's in the twilight of his life, if we're being honest, right? You can see it physically. It's weird to look at someone and just see that no matter what, life happens to all of us. It's
Oh
real.
yeah,
It's really going on. What's that like
yeah.
for you?
For lack of a better term, it's humbling. Like being in a room with that guy who has spent his life in the pursuit of excellence. It's fucking cool. Like the fact that I actually like him as a person, that means a lot to me because I've been in the room with people that I admire and then I meet them and I'm like, fucking wiener. Like, but like, yeah, for real.
Right.
I've
Yeah,
had
yeah,
the
yeah.
I've had the beauty of getting to be around these really like high level people that I'm like, oh my God, I get to meet this person and then leave the room and go, fuck,
Yeah.
that's fucking not what I wanted. With Rickson, it's very different. Like you get Rickson. So I've been very lucky to have him share his knowledge. Like the thing that made him so good was not his physicality, but it was his spirit and his mind. And this
Mm-hmm.
is not me just sucking up to the fucking guy. It's the idea of, okay, this is how I might die, and I'm gonna have to do this. When he went out there with a purpose. He went out there with his heart and his spirit, like, all right, fuck it, let's die. And that says something. When he went out there, he didn't have to use strength, speed, and agility, and etc. because he refined his techniques to this nth degree that people are still discussing to this fucking day. Like, I think it was Hoist that was just on Joe Rogan, and people keep sending me the clip. Like, it's like, no, Rickson just uses his weight, and like, why doesn't anyone listen? There's a reason that Rickson was the best then, and now like it's just disappeared. And you got guys that are like, yeah, he was his best then. He's like a purple belt now. Like you've never felt this man do a thing. It's
No.
it's like someone commenting on fucking Instagram. You're like, you don't know the words that are falling out of your fucking ass mouth. This dude leans left, lean right. It's a feeling more than a doing, and no one really paid attention. So having the opportunity and the privilege to be in the room with a guy who didn't just bang his way to the fucking top, and just like live off of his laurels. This is a guy that gave a shit about something and still gives a shit about something and wants to give, give, give. I think I think being in the room with him is a privilege, and it makes me feel like I've got a lot more to do. Every time I leave that room, I feel like fuck, man. I gotta get my book. I gotta get my fucking clean my glasses. I gotta get back to work because I want to fucking make sure that this shit survives and it doesn't just survive in a 30-second clip on Instagram because that's as far as most people's fucking brains will take them these days.
Yeah.
So if I can find a way to, present it flashy with dick jokes, and the guy goes, "Oh fuck, maybe I should go and train with that guy." Yeah, like maybe for fuck's sake, people will listen. But I don't know. I waffle on quite a bit, but it's a privilege and an honor.
You've trained at this point with probably thousands of people from different backgrounds and skill levels, athleticism, everything. What is the sentiment, like the feeling of that weight distribution, that kind of kinesthetic awareness that he has? Like, what does that actually feel like? Because this is, to be honest, you guys are probably in a very small handful of people that will ever train with him again. That's wild.
Yeah,
Like
that's
nobody will get to experience that. It's a real deal thing. And so
yeah.
there is something that you guys are holding and passing on that actually is like legitimate, right? It's not,
Wow.
he's not Master Ken's karate school. This guy's like it's Rickson Gracie, dude.
There's a group of us that are very intent about the preservation of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu as a martial art.
Mm.
And they're not all like me. That's the cool thing is they're not just dicks. These are good men with good hearts that are not just like constantly shitting on stuff and on Instagram telling dick jokes. there's a few of us that really give a fuck because this means something to us and we want to pass it down generations. It's I don't know. I don't know how to put it, but I do know that it needs to be done. And like when you find that right lane that you feel that's your lane, you feel like that's your bliss. That's what you're supposed to be doing. I found this a long time ago, and I'm really privileged to be doing it. And I hope he doesn't kick me out of the fucking room. So, because like, dude, I can't shut my mouth. I got to make sure that I stop fucking being me so much. I don't know. Like, it's too good to be true. If
Well,
that's
you had an interesting story too about how that came about. I mean, weren't you like relentlessly patient with
oh, I never
meeting
said anything
him?
about patient. Relentless is good, but patient, no.
Like how
Excuse me.
didn't he it
Turn me
was like
down multiple
multiple,
times.
yeah, yeah, I don't know how to I'm trying to think in my head. I'm like, it's not a date, but it's like he did kind of blow you off, but
I
you were
got blown
flying
off.
across the world every single
Oh,
time for
dude,
nothing.
he
Like what
he
happened?
literally, my friend Jack Talfer. Have you done a thing with Jack yet?
We've talked, but
Oh, dude,
I kind of
get
know of him,
do it.
don't know him directly.
It's it's
He's on the
it's
short
worth
list.
it. He's
Yeah.
it's fucking worth it. Trust
We'll
me.
connect after this and we'll link up because I've been meaning to reach out to have him on actually. So
Ah, dude, it's so worth it.
sidebar. Yeah.
He's been around for a long fucking time. He's got a lot of stories. Um, he literally he got to talking to a cat in Africa as a black belt in Africa, and the guy said like, if I get a plane ticket and come out, will you take me to see Rickson? Because like everybody asks us to see Rickson
Yeah.
constantly. Like you don't go a fucking day without a like, hey, when's the next time you're gonna see Rickson? Remember that time I bought you a coffee? Like,
Do you
yeah,
know, like, how does it work? Do you know the next time you're going to see him? Or is it like the bat signal hits the sky and you guys are all like, yes, sir. And you all show up in LA?
if the stars align and he's in the mood, we'll do it.
Yeah.
So
Gotcha.
like Rickson's Rickson, man. He's gonna do his jam. Like if he woke up and stubbed his toe, and he's like, fuck it, I don't feel like it. Like
Right.
shit, dude. Like I'm not gonna say no to Rickson. Like if Rickson doesn't feel like it today, like shit, I'll be there tomorrow if you're up for it. I always bank like a week of time just in
Yeah.
case because I've been that guy that showed up all the way from Australia and is like, I don't feel like it today. Maybe next 6 months from now. So like I
What
bank
did
a
you,
week in
but when that
advance.
happens, were you like, yo, dude, hey, time out here. What the hell, man? I just flew
Fuck
out
no,
here
it's
from
a,
Australia.
yeah, and it's a privilege to fucking train with Rickson Gracie. So there's
Fair.
no version of this where I feel entitled to be in that fucking room. Like
Yeah.
most people think they're like, if I throw the money down, you need to fucking show up. That's the most American shit ever. Like I have a friend who really wanted to train with this one very special martial artist,
Mhm.
Filipino style. He had to get to the top of the fucking mountain, and as a present, he brought a suckling pig for dinner. That's the fucking jam that I'm digging.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to throw down a check and be like, show me how to do a fucking bolo. Like I'm
Yeah.
good. Like he has something that's worth more than money to me. It's worth my respect. It's
Yeah.
worth my time. My time is worth more than my money. My respect is something that is earned. Like yeah, you get that baseline of respect, but like, do you get my ethics. That's the top you're gonna get. But when you get up to a level where fuck it, dude, I will fly to the other side of the fucking world so that you can show me what you gave your life to. You
Yeah.
know? So no, there's no like point in time where I'm standing in the kitchen. Like I'm literally standing there in my underwear, like on the phone, like, all right, man, I'm ready to go. I was like, yeah, maybe next time. And I was like, okay, have a good day, man. Boop. And I just kind of stood there and I looked at the clouds and I was like, yeah, maybe next time.
Yeah.
That was
That's
it.
so
Like, fuck, man,
funny.
I got that close. Maybe next
Yeah.
time I'll get this close. But most people don't have that amount of fucking respect for something. It's weird.
That is
I don't
true.
know. It's
Well, I think it's a it's the day and age is like,
like external validation and instant gratification.
yeah, and a
Instagram, boop,
willingness to like
love.
there should be some things that money can't like it actually is
There
kind of
is.
refreshing to me that it's not like, oh yeah, you just would, businessman XYZ, you just pay, a certain fee
No,
and then you get your session with Rickson, that it's like he could do that, right? I mean, it's Rickson Gracie, he could do that. No problem.
yeah.
He could make
No,
$1 million a
definitely.
year doing that. but
Yeah.
he is
Doesn't.
not. And
No, he
that
doesn't.
is, you can't buy, that means he can't be
I
bought. And
know.
that's appealing.
And that gives it more dignity and more gravitas. Like for me, unfortunately, my wife is just dealing with this. I don't do money. It's never been my thing because I will live off of 7-Eleven coffee and hate. I'm fine. I've always been like that. I'm going to continue to be like that. You can take your pompous shit and shove it. It's not my thing. Sleeping on the beach, waiting to see if it happens is my thing. So I have quit very important paychecks. I have turned down amazing offers to work with the world's most important fucking people. Dude, my job's not to be a barnacle on your fucking ship. Like, I'm fine. My existence is my existence, and I'm very happy with not hating myself as much as I used to and enjoying my life. When I pursue something that is noble and has a sense of dignity and honor, like, fuck, man, that feels good to me. That feels good. So if I get fucking turned down, like, whatever, I'll try again.
Does it ever feel culty to you? Is there any cult element to being in this special group with someone and really, I mean, truly idolizing the person, right? Which is it's understandable considering the pedigree, the role, the knowledge, and the wisdom. But do you ever get sentiments around that?
Okay, well, let's describe what a cult is. So if you had people that like what is in your mind, what do you view as a cult? And this is not me berating you in any way.
No,
Like, I
and
want to give a
nor
clear
was it
comparison.
me. Yeah, and nor was it me
Oh, I know,
putting
I
you in a
know. I just
box.
want to.
I'm curious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think it's like it's an undue loyalty. Like when there's
yeah.
a loyalty that supersedes doubt. Like you just
Okay,
kind of blindly follow
awesome.
leadership. I would,
Okay,
that's kind of what initially comes to mind in
then
cultiness.
let's run with that. So there is no version of me that is blindly loyal to anyone, including country. Like my loyalty does not lie within normal people's parameters. Let's just put it
Fair.
that way. The fact that I represent this man is the fact that he had the time for me. And let's say when you have this small group of people, it's like a cult, like these loyal guys. First off, we're the ones that stuck it out because I know a million motherfuckers that walked in that room and he taught them bass. And when they left, they complained about only learning bass. Like, man, I just paid a fuck ton of money to learn how to find bass. Like, they were
Right.
upset with this fucking thing that he handed to him. So when Rickson teaches you, he doesn't just throw you like the most complicated shit. You have to learn levels upon levels upon levels in order to be functional enough to teach. And it sounds condescending, but fuck you, it is. Like, if you don't know what 2 plus 2 is, I'm not going to teach you fucking division. Like, you have to build on specific things. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you have these guys that are privileged, there's the word privileged, and then there is the word dedicated and determined in comparison. Like multiple words in comparison. So there's no privilege to it so much as, oh man, okay, he taught bass last time. I'll go again. Oh, okay. So he taught bass again because my bass was shit. Okay, I'll go again. Oh, my bass was a little bit better, so he taught me a little bit to add on to the bass. It is layers. It's like a fucking tiramisu. So for us, a sense of loyalty is it's less about I'm wearing a patch and I'm that guy in the photo and I get something out of it. Like, cause fuck you, dude. Just showing up wearing a patch and taking a picture. He genuinely cares about what he's doing and he genuinely cares about helping other people with what he's done. I genuinely care about doing the same thing. So the few of us that have kind of sat it out to make it through to the part where he's teaching us what to add on to these important things, there's a sense of reciprocity. It's not
Yeah.
just loyalty. Like, he's a good man who's actually doing right by us. Like, when I pay for a private, it's not, here's your hour, beep, timer. It's like, here's your day. Like when he gets passionate about something, like the day is gone. Like, did you
Right.
get lunch? I haven't eaten in 2 fucking days. Like, we just started doing shit, and then he let us use the room, so we stayed there and we kept drilling. Like,
Right.
man, I because I've done a lot of shit. So, one of the guys in this area asked me to do a thing about is your jiu-jitsu club a cult? Because some of them fucking are. You know, you go to a place
No,
and they get mad
I
at
listened
you.
to that. I thought that this was a really good piece that you put out because that stuff happens, man. Like you
Yeah,
got to be if you're standing there going, man, should I don't think this spot's for me. Should I be training? Like, dude, you're a grown ass person. If that's what you're thinking about, no, you shouldn't be. You should have left yesterday. You're
yeah.
not beholden to anyone because they put a sticker on your back.
No, it's so that was an old school thing where it used to be like, you're a fucking crayon. Like, I don't know if they still use the term anymore, but you were a crayon if you went and trained somewhere else and you're giving our fucking secrets. Like, this is not fucking feudal Japan.
Right.
Settle down. The idea of me training and cross training and shit, I had to cross train because my first club was fucking terrible. No one taught me
Yeah.
anything. They just threw us in the room and told us to fight. It was
Yeah.
fucking terrible. And I met some of the best people there. Like I met some of my favorite fucking people and some of the toughest people, but I didn't learn anything. All I did was get injured and get tougher and learn how to do better dick jokes. That's it. I got a black belt in you ever play that game Dozens? Like your mama's so fat.
Mm-mm.
I got a
No,
black
but
belt in that before I ever got good at jiu-jitsu. Like we just hung shit on each other. But like the idea of going into a place and they say like you can't train in another place that makes you a traitor. Like fuck off. Con First off,
yeah.
I'm paying for the privilege to be in this room. So no, sorry. And
Right.
the full circle that with Rickson, like, no, I share what I know. The cool thing about him is I remember a friend of mine asked him like, should I keep this to myself? Do I teach to anybody? He's like, man, fucking tell everybody. Like, teach everyone that you know. Just tell them I sent you. How
Yeah.
cool is that? How
No, it
cool is
was
that?
cool when Ben and Chang would come back from like
Oh, those are
I think
nice guys. I like
they're
them a
the
lot.
best, dude. They're such
Yeah.
good people. And I think they had gone up I think they came back from one of your seminars because I don't think they had trained yet with Rickson. They have now, but I don't think they had at the time. And they came back and they instructed and I was like my initial thought I'm like this is very fundamental stuff, but it's like Chang was teaching it with this level of focus that was like very vibrant, very refreshed from the weekend.
Because
And
he
I'm
gave
like,
a shit.
oh yeah, but it was just the slightest thing where I'm like, you almost want to doubt it that it would be effective. And then he
Yeah.
goes, no, no, come here, watch. And he's like, do whatever you want. And I
Yeah.
outweigh Chang by probably 35 pounds and immovable, immovable,
Yeah. I
and it
know.
was cool. I was like, wow,
It's called
that is
base.
yeah. Well, it's just I mean, for me as like a martial arts nerd, who's been watching movies since I was a kid and obsessed with martial arts way before I was ever able to start practicing them. That's kind of like the little kid part of me is stoked on that stuff. That stuff works. You want a little bit of wax on, wax off to actually be functional. And when it is, and it's very
Man,
rarely available, but when you see it work, it is really cool.
it's
It's really cool.
invisible. It's mind blowing. Blah blah blah.
Yeah, it
It's
feels like that.
the thing is like the thing is no one explains it properly, and it's like
Yeah,
the flow of the key, and there's a million ways of saying, oh, it's the transference of energy, dude. If we got like an engineer to break it down, it's the ultimate cheat code of if I have a gas tank and my gas tank runs out. Like Gracie schools would do like this hand demo and be like, your opponent gets really tired, then you attack. Like it's
yeah,
literally that. The whole point of Gracie Jiu Jitsu was survival. So if we think about like the breathing techniques and the diet and the exercise, it was literally all about survive, 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 then kill, right?
yeah,
It's the ultimate cheat code. The ultimate cheat code is that wax on, wax off thing of base and connection, weight distribution, the middle, the idea of the 0 point, finding the middle and letting the person over or under do something to capitalize on it. It's never explained clearly. If I have a
no,
gas tank, you know what doesn't have a gas tank? The floor. The floor doesn't have a gas tank. If I can connect my left foot to my right shoulder to you. I don't use me. I use the floor that doesn't have a gas tank. Base. So when people start to talk about like you got to transfer the energy, the fucking floor push. Like if we make it as dumb as possible,
Move
yeah, dude.
left.
Oh, lean left. Like, I remember trying to describe to somebody because they were teaching the Choi bar. Like, fuck my life. They were doing this weird thing from wrist control from a butterfly guard, and he goes into the Choi bar. It's a whole thing. Like,
I don't
I'm
know what that
polite.
is. Yeah.
Dude, I'm super polite. I go into these academies and they show me their cool new toy. I'm like, that's a cool toy. Let me see if I can break it. So, like, the second they do the move, I want to see what happens if I lean left. So, the fucking fun thing about Rickson, we would do things, and like, I got notebooks of questions because I'm trying to put things in order so that they can be preserved and taught, as
Yeah.
opposed to like, hey, what do I do if he does X guard? Like, yeah, that's not the question. These are the questions. At one point, a friend of ours asked, they've been doing this really cool thing with the shoulder pinch thing, and I don't know what to do. He's like, okay, put me in it. So he put him in it. He did the sweep. And he did it. Okay, do it again. And he leaned left. Do the sweep. Okay. And then he leaned a little bit more left and pinched his elbow down. And the guy's like, oh, how did
Yeah.
you do that? I was like, I don't fucking know. Thank you for teaching me. Like you reverse engineer things. And
Yeah.
it's mind boggling to some people that you can teach yourself how to defend from a thing by do the move. Okay, do it again. Do it again. Oh, you can't do the move anymore. Okay, cool. So that was the answer to the move.
I always like when you're working on something and someone goes, okay, I'll do two and then you do two, and you're like, okay, cool. And they go to do one and they go, well, no, don't do it like they go, don't do it like that. Shift over more to
Yeah,
that side. And you're
like
like,
you gotta
okay,
do it,
and
do it.
then they try it
Oh,
and they're like, okay, cool. You're like, all right, so we've gotten that to work from one position that wouldn't occur, and it doesn't work in any other thing, or if I change my intensity at all, it doesn't work, or if I
and
change where my
yeah.
foot is, it doesn't work. And that's just at a baseline level, like we're all trying to learn, right? And obviously that changes the more that you do it, but it's always funny when it'll be like, no, let me start
Well,
from here.
let's rewind the entire podcast to that first part where you're asking me why I don't like sport. That's why, because like all the stuff that I'm doing in the self defense is about how do I manage the distance, manage the damage. How do I find base and connection and stay safe? And then if you push too much, this is my takedown. If you pull too much, this is my takedown. Not okay. Let me try this move. No. I need you to do the move this way, and then no this way. Like no, it's a give and take over here. Over here, you're making cool new things up. It's very fucking frustrating.
Yeah.
So you understand, like if I lean left, the cool move doesn't fucking work. The whole
Oh,
point of what we were doing, we're supposed to be staying safe while you give us the move.
yeah,
You know, like, and that's what an uke is. It's someone who feeds the move.
right.
Um,
Yeah, I'll go in occasionally and I'll be like, I'm gonna try this thing I saw, and I'll try it, and I'm like,
Pulled an
that doesn't
Anacostal.
work. Yeah, I'm like, what am I doing? I do
Dude,
like
I went.
two times, and I'm like, okay, so that's not a thing. Never mind. Never mind. Sorry,
I,
guys. Never mind. I don't know what I was doing.
I went through an Eduardo Telesh phase. So like I'm old. Like we had the VHS tapes and shit back in the day. But I was doing the Nino Shembri with the flames and everything for a long time. But I went through a Telesh phase where I was in turtle and I was trying to do this very specific sweep and I fucking pulled an Anacostal out. I remember the fucking fat guy that I was trying to do it
No
on.
way.
Yeah, dude, I was like really trying to do the move and it just went and it's
Uh,
never gone. It's never gone back in. So,
uh,
man, I have to be taught now. I don't just
yeah.
try and do a move that I saw. Man, I need you to explain it to me as much as possible because I don't want to burn my hand on a hot pan. So
I like to ask a lot of questions. I like good teaching too. But man,
hard to
Chris,
come by.
we riffed again, and
Hey.
I am committed now. The next time that you're in Los Angeles, and I'm not even in Los Angeles, but the next time that you are, we're gonna make it happen. I
Well,
hope that
I'm
you
in Reno.
survive the Reno.
You want to come to
Probably
Reno?
not.
Sure.
I'm not gonna come to Reno.
All
You
right,
know, I you know
August
what I don't
23rd to
like?
25th. I'm in
I don't
Reno.
like when people go, "Oh yeah, cool, that would be rad." Yeah, we should definitely do that. Like, I won't be in Reno. So we'll
Why
do
not?
another thing.
It's like a fucking hour away.
I know, I just won't do it. It's like, hey, Chris, meet me at a bar tonight. There'll be a ton of people there all yelling at the TV. Do you want to show up? And you're like,
No, no, I
no,
don't.
I'll just meet you on the
Why
next
would you
thing.
want to come to Reno?
Yeah.
Reno's fucking awesome. We're having
That's far.
3 Rickson black belts teaching at a Reno camp for 3 days. So that's pretty fucking useful. I would consider the flight. I would consider the drive personally.
Maybe I'll ride my unicycle out there.
Nice. That's some
Well,
solid
we'll
exercise.
offline and figure out some time to connect. But it's Chris. It's always I'm sure we'll do this again because it's always a pleasure. Time goes by super fast. It's a bunch of useful nonsense that we always end up covering that I'm sure people will be able to implement into their personal lives. So I
Useful nonsense. That's
yeah,
the name of my memoirs.
I really appreciate you coming on, man, Chris. It's always a blast. Thank you, brother.
That's my pleasure. Thank you.
Hey, friends, Abe here. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode and sticking around to the very end. If you want to support it, leave a 5-star review on Spotify or check out www.maynideapodcast.com, join the mailing list, and stay up to date on all things The Main Idea, from future guests, sponsorship opportunities, products that I'm using to help me perform at my best, invites to ask me anything, and any upcoming pertinent information to the show. I cannot do this show without you. It is literally why I show up each week and put these episodes together. So thank you from the bottom of my heart from being part of the community. I hope you have a great day.